This is partners in the process, 'cause we're built better together.
Welcome on today as partners in the process. This is Shelly and Bobby. We want to welcome on Andy Elliot, the Andy Elliot. For those of you who do not know who he is probably, if not he is probably top tier, the top best sales training and leadership training experts in the world. Definitely in the United States. They are based out of Arizona. He is personally our mentor, and he's been so kind to come on with us today and talk to you guys about some different mindset things and personal and professional development, things that he's worked on, and strategies, and just basically I want to get into Elliot's mind for a second here and ask you some questions and see if you can elaborate a little bit on exactly what it is that you bring to the world that makes you a little bit special, makes you the bloodline breaker. You know what I mean? The one in your family and in other families that just set the tone, man. You know what I mean?
Help people break generational curses. The cool thing about it is and the reason why we want to do this podcast, number one, you guys are awesome. You guys are pushing the levels, like on human excellence, right? Like on raising your standards. We talked about you're at Emily Frizella's event, right? So what does that mean? Women in business. That means, you're leveling up. I love my wife to death. She levels up. I level up. We decided to go on this journey about 5 years ago, start changing our life. And we built a 9-figure business pretty quick. Things got pretty cool. Like we talked about getting in good shape. We just, dude, it's like nobody realizes how fast things can change when they decide to make a decision to change. And anyway, so hopefully today, we can inspire people. There's millions of people across the world that, there's this life they're living, and then there's the unlived life, right? The one that they should be living. And, and I call this the bloodline breaker, where those people can literally break their bloodline by making a decision to just start doing a couple things differently and change their life. That's what we started doing. We do that together with you guys. And then today, hopefully we just share a couple points or tips that people can start doing to change everything in their life.
Yeah, we had a handful of questions here that we came up with that we wanted to ask you, very specific ones, because I want your deep thoughts on a few of these. Obviously not super in depth, but I'd like to hear what your point of view is on a couple of these.
Okay. So can you share a strategy for overcoming self-doubt and building confidence?
Yeah. So number one, a lot of people, the reason why I always ask people, and you've heard me frame people, right? Because I'm a sales guy. So I'm always like framing people first to get the answer I want, and then I'll take them somewhere. So I always ask people, I'm like, would you stay in a relationship with somebody that constantly lied to you? People always say no. And I say, that's the reason why you don't like you. Okay. So like you have to, in order to have self-confidence, self-belief, and self-esteem. Remember, I just said self-confidence, self-belief, self-esteem. How do you get those things? Well, you get those things by doing what you say you're going to do. And so like a lot of people, they just don't trust themselves very much. So how do you get self-esteem? It's real simple. Whatever you say you're going to do, you have to do it. And once you start doing it, you start believing in yourself. And honestly, like that was a big thing that changed in my life. Like my wife, I used to tell her like, hey babe, I'm going to start going to the gym, like whatever. And then I would go for like 45 days. And then, it would go from like 5 days a week, from 5 a.m. to now I'm going 4 days a week, now 3 days a week. Now I'm like not going at 5 a.m. But then I'm trying to go at night. And now instead of coming home after work and hanging out during the kids, I'm like, babe, I missed the gym this morning, so I got to go tonight. And then she's just like, you just don't keep your word, right? Like you said you were going to do this, and then you did it for 45 days and you quit doing it. And now you're going at night, and that's the time we were supposed to hang out. And she just got fed up with me. She would get pissed off. And honestly, I would be mad at everybody else. Like, nobody understands what I'm going through. Bottom line is I didn't keep my word. And, I started keeping my word, and all of a sudden my belief went up, my confidence went up, self-doubt went away. Mm-hmm. Doubt's a traitor, right? Like, so like I was being a traitor to me. Everybody's always like, I don't have anybody believe in me. The reason why I don't believe in you is because you don't keep your word. Okay. And if you keep your word long enough, you'll look up, and a lot of people will be with you along the way, because it's pretty rare nowadays.
Before you skip past what you just said a little bit, because I'll move on, but I don't want to yet. When you do that, that requires a level of competency you got to beat yourself up. I mean, you literally have to reflect internally, look at yourself in the mirror, and tell that guy right there, he's the one that's screwing up and needs to fix this. How hard was that for you?
Yeah. So listen, everything in life, like all things, if you want to change them, they all start with truth, and they all start with honesty. And honestly, like the only kickback I get, like we get 100 million views every 30 days on social media. And the negative stuff, anytime I say something, that hurts people's feelings because they don't like the truth, they get all mad, right?
Mhm.
And at the end of my life, listen, the only way that I'm going to get to the life that I want is by the truth. You want to save money? Guess what? You're going to have to go into the truth. Who's spending what? Where's it getting spent? It's not how much we make, how much are we keeping, right?
Right.
If you want to have a better marriage, you got to look in the mirror and you got to say, hey, am I keeping my wife number one? Am I treating her like it was the first day we met? Well, no, it's not.
Right.
I'm not treating her like the first day we met, but you don't understand. No, you don't understand.
Mhm.
The
Right.
reason why she liked the shit out of you and wanted to keep dating your ass and one day eventually marry you, and she thought she was going to get the ride of a lifetime, is because you kept treating her better every time she got with you, but you don't treat her better anymore. That's the reason why she's got a problem, because you lied to her, you tricked her.
Yep.
Or she tricked you. Okay.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like, you got to be honest. Like, why is this thing not as good as it should be? And it's honestly looking in the mirror, just owning your shit. And by the way, when you do it, it becomes very addictive. So that's what I did. Yeah, sure. It's super hard. You know why? Because it hurts your ego.
Right. And that's what I wanted you to explain to people who haven't went through this process and they run into that roadblock, why it's so important and what they're running up against and what you just said.
Yeah. And dude, I always ask people, I'm like, dude, do you want results or do you want to feel good?
Right.
Okay. Do you want me to feed your ice cream like a 2, 3, 4, and 5-year-old, make you feel good? Or do you want the cold, hard truth? You want me to treat you like the badass you said you want to be? Just tell me which one, because if you want to be the badass, you got to hear the truth. And dude, I just became addicted to it, man. And listen, even till this day, man, I love it when people are direct with me. I love it, man. It's really my unfair advantage to grow. It's y'all's. And so anyways, that's the key, man. Build self-belief, self-confidence, self-esteem, keep your word. It's hard as hell. The hardest thing you'll ever do as a human being is keep your word to yourself and to other people. But if you can do it, I will assure you, you will stand out in this world and you will build a great life. It's impossible not to.
So with that being said, what do you feel like, how has discipline played a role in your life, and not only keeping your word to physical fitness, but keeping your word to your wife, your family, your team, and your goal for your vision for the Elliott Group?
Well, I tell my team this every day. In the beginning, when I was an amateur, okay, when I was first getting started, discipline seemed to be the thing that I would talk about. That's the hardest. And I'd always say, guys, you got to stay disciplined. You understand that only winners can keep discipline. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do. The more I've matured, which I will tell you, if you want to go to the next level in your life, it's going to require maturity. Okay. Because I was a little punk ego kid for a very long time that thought I was a man, and I was really just a kid with an ego. And once I started maturing, I started to realize that, dude, like I'm the problem, like I'm the issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. That
like,
goes back to self-reflection we just talked about. I mean, you had to hear it from somebody who you admire and love more than anything, and she was brutally honest with you, and you went, you know what? Maybe you're right.
But that's what makes the change. That's what makes us change.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy is that how many people in this world right now would like someone to see more in them? Everybody would, right? Everybody would be like, dude, I would love for someone to see more in me and tell me that I'm capable of greatness. Well, when we tell people like, change this, do that, do this, like that should make people excited because someone actually still believes in them, that they're capable of more. And, anyways, I was just saying like discipline was the hardest thing in the beginning, but now honestly, the hardest thing for me is regret. And as I'm 44 years old and I'm getting older, I'm just telling you, man, I'm not going to die with regret. I'm not going to do it. And I'm not even joking. Like, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm ready. Like I'll die. Okay. Fulfilled, because I'm going to give everything that I can. And so like total recreation, like anybody watching this, like there's the day you're born, the day you die, and the day your life changes forever. And I'm telling you, dude, human beings are resilient. Everybody's qualified for a badass life. Every son of a bitch on planet Earth. And, anyways, discipline's easy.
Anybody who knows a little bit about you, for the viewers that are going to watch this, if they know anything about Mr. Andy Elliot here and Jacqueline and his entire team, they're very, very intense people. Not only are they very intense, they're very straightforward and outright with what they say. They've gotten a lot of criticism for it. I will tell you, surrounding yourself by people like this that will tell you the truth when you don't want to hear it, but you need to hear it, is a game changer in life.
Right.
And that's the problem with our society. Everybody wants to be powdered up with, powder sugar and blown off into obscurity. they're not going to hold you accountable. I think Brad Lee said it best once. He goes, I'm going to tell you the things I need to do that you need to do. And he's going to show up at your door and knock on it. And he's going to make you do them. He's going to hold you accountable.
That's
And
right.
I love that. So, but we're going to move on.
So we know that it's important to surround yourself then with the right people, but how do you attract or find them sometimes? That seems to be difficult.
Well, so there's two things. Number one, once you become more elite, keep your word, get in physical good shape, taking good care of your family, working hard at work, raising your standards, creating human excellence, doing the right thing, giving more, right? Self-developing every day. I mean, you start to become more attractive, then you start to attract different circles. More people look at you and they're like, hey man, we'd like to invite you to this thing. And those are a higher quality or a higher caliber of individual or a company. In the beginning, people say, well, where do I start? Well, there's a saying, it says, cut the check for speed. It may be $100 a month. You get it on a coaching membership somewhere. You may spend $100,000 to go train with somebody and coach with somebody. But what I'll tell you is, number one, never take advice from people you don't want to be. Never take advice from people you don't want to become. I've had a lot of people when I started my company. They told me, you're not going to make it. I didn't want to be like these people. These people have never created anything that I wanted to ever. So I did not care anything about what these people said. Now, your goal is to find people. I would say if you go to the internet, et cetera, you can find people that are real people that have actually done things that you want to do. They've been where you want to go, and maybe they're on their way back now, or maybe they're willing to share it with you. And I would say what would take you maybe 3 years or even 13 years to do, you might be able to learn in 3 months. And that's the key. It's that we're in an era right now where self-development is there. And so it's like, it's a $1 billion a day industry right now.
A day.
Yeah, dude, it's freaking crazy, man. So, but my point is number one, everybody's self-developing. So like get with it or get your ass kicked. And then number two, like take what they teach you and become it. And totally changed. And that's what I did. I mean, I just started getting on the internet. I found out, who I wanted to be like. I took the best, I left the rest. I didn't take everything, but I took the stuff that I needed. And I literally took the top 50 business people and influencers that I could find. And I literally created one identity of all these people. And dude, we just attacked. And I started just destroying everything in my way because I was a new person, man. And I think anybody, like, if you don't like who you are, dude, just make a decision to change. Humans are crazy resilient, resilient, man.
Well, and I was excited too. I wanted to ask you one of the last things I wanted to ask you before we wrap up here. And all this that you said, like I said, you've been renowned for the sales training and word tracking and all those type of things. But I've heard recently that you're coming out with a new book. Did I hear that right?
Yeah. So the cool thing about it is that I'm not a book writer. And I was telling someone this the other day, that like, there's people that write books and then they like write, 23 books in their life or 50 books. I may only write one. Okay. And by the way, we have thousands of training videos, all these masterminds, we have all these things, but Andy Frisella wrote a book. It was a book of mental toughness. I really loved it. It really helped create the recipe for mental toughness. I went through it. I read it all really well. And it really broke down some things that I already knew and affirmed I need to do this, and also gave me an edge to do some other things. Tim Grover wrote the book Relentless. Okay. Like that book changed my life. It really helped me understand the different levels of competitors. Ed Milet wrote the book of The Power of One More, right? Like, I don't know how many books he's going to write, but I know if he only wrote one, that book would have changed everyone's life. I don't want to be a book writer, but I like to read. Leaders are readers, they read. And so I said, I need to create a book, but it needs to be something that's over the most powerful thing that I've ever done, which is total recreation. And listen, if you go look me up, Andy Elliot on YouTube, and you go oldest to newest, not newest to oldest, but oldest to newest, and you find the old version of me, you'll watch a video and you'll say, dude, that's not Andy. There's no way. Like, dude, I killed off myself so many times over and over that people are always like, dude, how did you go to make a 9 figures plus really quick? Well, I say, dude, that was cool. But how did you build a team that literally will die for you and they'll take a bullet and they're insane and they're psycho competitors? Okay, that's cool. How do you create a marriage that's on fire, that literally every single day you're just obsessed with each other? How do you become a badass parent every day where your children want to be you when they grow up? They do. They want, you're their hero. How do you get in physically, like I said, like good shape and take care of your body in the midst of building a big business and having all these things going on, and look in the mirror and be really proud of you? How do you financially, put your family in a good place while doing all that? How do you get it all? So I was like, okay, I'm living proof that it can happen. And I'm like, I'm going to write a book on how not on how you should, but how I totally recreated very quick. And by the way, just in the first couple of pages of reading the book, you're going to want to punch yourself in the face. Like literally, because you're going to say, I can do this. Number one, you're going to be like, I can do this. And then number two, you're going to be like, I'm going to do this. And dude, something is going to crawl up your spine when you're reading the book, and you're going to want to go to war. And by the way, like on the backside of the book, I created a 300, see, because I'm a workbook, I got ADD, right? So I can read something, but I also need to use it as a workbook. I need to highlight, I need to underline, I need to tear it up, because it's not about a book you want to put on the bookshelf. I want people to read this shit and take action and become elite.
Use it.
Yeah. I want them to become great. So, but on the backside of the book, I put a 365-day physical, mental business, physically, how I stay shredded, how I work out, what my routine is, how I do it, how I eat. I put it all there. So anybody can just literally look at it. And if they are like, okay, I'm going from the idea, now I read how he did it. Now I'm going to take action. Now I'm going to do it. And it's just all in there in the book. And so physically, that part's there. Mentally, I created my mental mindset on a daily basis, and I do it for 365 days. And then business, economically, how I continue to scale and make more money every day. And literally, like, I'm a broke person with money. So like, I don't want the money. I don't need the money. The money is a scoreboard. I know how to get it. They print it for free. I can teach everyone to get it. I'm going to teach everybody how to be some badass motherfuckers, basically. Yeah. And so like, I basically created a pre-order system because we envisioned there's going to be millions of books being shipped out on November 1st.
Okay.
So we created a pre-order system, and basically everybody who pre-orders, I'm going to sign their copy. I'm going to give them also the audio version, right? Because like, I like to drive and listen in the gym.
I'm an audio
I decided to create an audio version along with the regular book. And then basically like, people can just text the word book. They can text it to 918-210-0254. So like on the screen, we put 918-210-0254. And all they got to do is just text the word book. That's it. And it'll send them a pre-order link. And then in November 1st, when we start to ship, their books will get shipped first. I ordered Andy Frisella's book when it went out, and it took me almost 4 to 5 months to get it because it was pre-ordered. And I just ordered it a little bit too late. I ordered 300 copies for my whole company, for the kids, for the wives, for the husbands. I ordered them for everybody, because I wanted everybody in my company to be, mentally fit. But this book, Total Recreation, man, what it means to me is, in the Bible, it says the old is gone, the new has come. And like the Apostle Paul, who took the Bible the furthest, he was once Saul. He was a Christian killer, whether you're religious or not. Okay. In the Bible, it talks about David and Goliath, and David smoked Goliath with a simple stone. Okay. He's like, I can do this. No one else believed that he could, and he did it. And I've been able to pull off a life in the last couple of years that everyone said that I couldn't. And the people that I coach are replicating it. And so like, I wanted to put it into a format of a book, so anybody that wanted a better life could just simply open it up, read, and just immediately take action. So that's it. So they can text the number, text book. You can pre-order it. I'm signing all the pre-order books, and I'm also going to give them the digital download on the audio for free. And it's kick ass. Like, it'll change your life. It may be the only book I ever write in my whole life.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. Because like I said, everybody got to know you for who you were, but they want to know where you came from and how you got started. I think I talked to Lacey about it earlier. You kind of did it backwards. You got known for being the guy on the internet doing the seminars and all this, but we're like, where'd this guy come from? Now, like you said, if you look at some of the old videos, you're looking at this guy and, button ups or suspenders at times, or you had hair.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And you're there with the twins, and you guys are you're going through and doing stuff. But the guy that you are now absolutely had to kill that guy to be who he is today. And so to teach people how to make that transition, and not only for you to do that, but then to talk to people like us that I can vouch for that and say, I did it. I've got my own journey. I can tell you, I did exactly what he said, and it did the same thing in my life. And I know other people who did the exact same thing, and it did it in their life. So I think
watching you guys grow.
Thank you so much. I mean, thank you so much for having us in your circle. Thank you so much for having us on today, and being here with us. And we look forward to seeing you guys more. We'll be down in Arizona at the end of the month. And yeah, we're excited, man. Thank you so much.
Got your Bet David event, baby.
Absolutely. We won't miss it.
Good. All right, man. Love you guys. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. See ya.
This is